So I want to talk about lies, framing and setups that gang stalkers do to basically make people hate the TI and take part in torture. The first thing, though, that I wanted to say is that when I was talking about the fact that I can't work, right now I'm going through an asylum case. So obviously until a certain moment in time that they will decide, the ICE people, I am not allowed to work. So I can't have an income, all right? But aside from that, it's the trauma. You know, I was forced out of my job in the UK. I was working for British Airways. My colleagues took part in the torture. They deliberately sensitized me. They took part in the setups and the framing to make me look guilty of crimes I did not commit, which I'm going to talk about now. But what I want to say is this, you know, in the other video I was saying, you know, I'm too traumatized. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to work. Here's the point I want to make. I am being deliberately tortured. This is not about anything about my mental health. I can't work because I'm being tortured. I'm being tortured even on Facebook, even you know, everywhere I go, all right? That's what has to stop, because that, you know, not only can I not work with that going on, I can't even live with that going on, all right? That is re-traumatizing me hundreds of times a day. Nobody can live that way, you know? Every single person who's taken part in this torture is actively stopping me from being able to look after myself. So I need to make this clear. I'm not asking for charity. It's the last thing I want. What I want is to be able to work myself, and I shouldn't have had 10 years of my life stolen from me and to be left traumatized like this, because that's going to make it very, very hard for me. But unless the torture stops absolutely, completely and forever, I won't be able to work at all. In fact, I won't be able to live. Okay, I came here for asylum from that torture. Okay. Now I need to talk about these framing and setup and lies and things. If you believe that I am being rightfully punished for something terrible that I did, then you need to listen here. Look, I can't speak for every single TI, but most of the ones I've met are normal, nice people. They are not felons, all right? And the ones that have been to jail or whatever, they've served their time, you know? They did their time, leave them alone now, you know? So at the time when this was all happening, you see how traumatic it is even for me to talk about. I didn't even know what was going on. Remember that I am a mind control victim too. So it wasn't just that they were lying and doing setups. They were also mind controlling me to fit the narrative, okay? This happened in all sorts of ways. Now, there was some lie that they made up about me being a witch. And it seems that I can't even fathom how they got that one, because I've never done witchcraft in all my life. Now, if they're saying because I do, you know, well, I used to do tarot cards, angel cards, you know, that kind of thing. In fact, I even thought that could be something that I could do to earn money. But then when I was doing my fasting and praying, God said to me that not said in words, but he gave me to understand that he doesn't want me to do that anymore. And he didn't say it was evil or anything like that. He just, he wanted me to completely put my faith in him, to have blind faith. That's it, blind faith. Okay, so I don't do that anymore, but that isn't witchcraft, all right? If you go on YouTube and you listen to these people who do it, you know, when they say spirit, you know, give me the answer, who do you think that spirit is? It's the Holy Spirit that they're asking, all right? So this isn't demonic or anything like that. Can it be used for that? Yes, absolutely it can, just like many other things. But that doesn't make somebody a witch just because they do cards, all right? Because there's people that do, I think it's called bibliomancy, and they can do that with the Bible, you know? You ask a question, pray, ask God, and then you randomly open the Bible. That would be the same thing, all right? So it's not demonic, all right? Just to clarify that one. But I was then you see, I don't know which way around it worked, but I was invited to a hand fasting. This is in the UK. And this is a pagan wedding, okay? And you know what? It was beautiful. It was out in the forest, and people were wearing like old-fashioned clothing, and the couple were completely vegan, and all the food was vegan. These were nice people, all right? And my friend lent me a dress that had a cape with a hood, you know. And that dress was beautiful. It was red, and I think I posted the pictures up somewhere. I think it was on that friendship site that is now part of Facebook. It was called Interpals. And the gang stalkers did attack me very severely on there. They turned all my pen friends against me. They made out like I was a bully. But, you know, the fact is they were torturing me. And then they were sending their agents, fake people, basically. And, of course, I sussed them out immediately that they were fake. And I, you know, cussed them out or whatever. And then they turned that around and made it seem like I'm the bully. Do you understand? These are the setups that they do. But anyway, I don't know how it all came about, this witch thing. But I've never done witchcraft in my life. And I don't know if I was invited to that hand fasting in order to, in order to like back up that story. I mean, I don't know. They do all kinds of setups like that because they infiltrate the victim's social circle. Do you understand? As I've said, they've turned my own children against me. I raised those children on my own. That was another thing. That was another lie that they were making up. They said that I think this probably came from my ex-husband, the father of my children, my first husband, that I had somehow kept him away from his children because I'm this evil woman. This is a complete lie, all right? He didn't even fight for custody of those children. He didn't even come to the court hearing at all. I got custody because I was the only parent who showed up, okay? And don't get me wrong, I would have absolutely fought for custody of my children. You know, that's my honor and my duty to raise my children. But, you know, he was just despicable. I don't really want to go into details, but he was even being sneaky about not giving me this pathetic little amount, £13, which is about $15 a week, he was supposed to give me towards childcare, and he would even wriggle out of that. He would, you know, weeks and weeks would go by, and do you know how difficult that is when you're on state benefits? And they take it, because they would take the £13 out of my state benefit because it was supposed to come from him. Do you understand? So it was making my life even harder, all right? The only thing I can think of that they're referring to, that I somehow stopped him from being with his children, at some point he'd already left. By the way, he left. He lied to the children. He left, saying that he was going away on holiday for 2 weeks, and he was actually emigrating, and one of his friends told me that. So he lied to the children in the most horrible way, and of course I had to put up with, having them like, where's daddy, when's he coming back? It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible, all the time knowing that he had just abandoned them. All right. And then years and years later, I get a call from, I think it was the Home Office, some governmental department for immigration in the UK, and the woman asked me, she said, we've had a letter from your, I can't remember if it's a letter or a call or something, from your ex-husband, and he says that you and him are planning to get back together, and he's applying to come to England because of that. And this, I had no clue about this. I did not know about this at all. All right. So I was shocked. I said, well, absolutely not. I haven't heard from him in years, and I'll be honest, I'm very relieved that I haven't. If telling the truth is, keeping him away from his children, well, oh, sorry about that. I didn't deliberately lie to help him out to come to England when he was pretending he was getting back with me and he wasn't. Anyway, these are all lies, all right? They're all lies. I'm gonna actually cut this off because I've realized there's so many different ones that I don't know if I can do them all in one video, but I'm gonna maybe do a series of these because people need to understand what the actual truth is. Look, I was the responsible parent. Okay, I was the one who raised my children, and they both have special needs actually, and I had to fight the local government to get them the right education, and struggling through. My mother had Alzheimer's disease, so I didn't have any help from anywhere, and on top of it, the grief of having to watch my mother decline, and raising my children on my own. This is horrible to blame anything on me about this. It's absolutely horrible. Okay, absolute lies. Gang stalking is about blaming the victim every single freaking time. That's what it's about. It's cruel and it's evil and it's satanic. Yes, that's right, Prince. You tell them. Okay, I'm going to continue this. God bless you.